It's very important when parents first talk to their children about the internet that the boundaries are clear and established between parents and children. And it's important that that's the starting point for any internet usage, so that everybody is aware of what you can use it for and what you can't use it for, how long you can use it for, and in what setting you can use the internet. But it's important with that rule setting is that it's done as a negotiation between parents and children, and that it's not something children see imposed on them, but it's through a discussion, and it's through a discussion of why these rules might exist, and the child can have an input into developing those rules. When children have input into that, they're more likely to buy into the consequences and see them as fair. So I think also that children are more likely to go to parents when they're very clear about what the consequence is, because often children will feel that a consequence may be more strict than actually may be imposed. So where there's clarity around those issues, it encourages communication between a parent and a child. There's different levels of maturity and understanding at different ages for different children. But I think the types of areas that parents and children should look at is the time spent on the internet. And regarding the time, it's important to separate that time between schoolwork and pleasure time, so that children don't feel that they're eating into their internet time if they're doing work for school on the internet. It's also important to have rules around when maybe it's appropriate to spend time on the internet, how often, how long, where the computer might be in the house, and how much supervision is acceptable and necessary for that internet usage as well. It's very important when setting up the rules for the internet that the issue of sharing personal information is discussed between the parent and the child. And at the end of that discussion, rules should be developed as to what should and shouldn't happen. But the discussion is nearly as important as the rules, because unless children can realise why those rules are in place, sometimes it's harder to follow them. So if they're developing a relationship with a friend online, unless they can understand why that might be dangerous to share personal information, it can be hard to impose rules. So the discussion is important as to the things that can go wrong when personal information is shared, and then it's important to have very clear rules about not sharing information. I think it's important that when parents are discussing social networking and modern technology with children, that they're aware of the fact that all of these technologies bring huge benefits to children and to adults. And I think one of the concerns that parents might have is that children are meeting people online that they don't know in real life. And to adults that are kind of the internet generation starting up, this is a very unusual and strange thing to happen. And I suppose it's got a lot of negative publicity as well. But I think what's happening is that this is becoming more and more a norm, to have online friends that become real and close friends as real life friends do. So I think it's about parents managing that situation, and then also talking to children about the risks about not knowing that person that you might have virtually met in real life. So if there is going to be a meeting, that there are clear rules about how that should happen. And if it does happen, the first rule always should be that there's an adult present at that meeting. One of the main things is to be able to listen to your child and hear where their fears or concerns are coming from as well. So I think when a parent goes into that discussion, it's not about just dealing with all your concerns and worries. It's about listening to what the child may have, because we've already kind of established the fact that children know a lot more than a parent quite often in these situations. So some things that might not have even hit the parent's radar as being a concern might be the biggest concern to their child. So I suppose it's making sure that that conversation is open and gives the child as much opportunity to discuss the things that they're concerned about as the adult. I think it's important for parents to remember that they know their children best. So if they will notice first with their child if they feel there's something going wrong. They may not know what it is, but they'll be aware that there's something going on. So trust your instinct with that. And then it's important that if you develop a good relationship with your child from very early ages and continue that good relationship, whether it's internet safety, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, that sets the scene for children to be able to communicate with their parents when things are concerning them. So it really is, whatever the context of parenting, it's around developing that very positive relationship with your child, that your child can come to you when issues are going on for them in their lives.